Well, hey, we're back here live from Ritchie Brothers in Morris, Illinois. We are kicking off Equipment Theft Awareness Month, and ARA is committed to working with members and also associate members, from across the industry to help prevent equipment theft going forward. I mean, it's been a rampant problem for us as an industry for years, and it's only getting worse. So on that note, so positive to start, Elliot, we are really pleased to introduce Kristen Bonniwell from Amarok, who is working closely with ARA on this new program, Equipment Rental Guard. Kristen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. We really appreciate the partnership and just excited to talk with you today.
So, Kristen, tell us a little bit about just your own journey into with Amarok, and then even into your involvement with the rental industry. So, how did you get here?
Yeah. So I had worked previously in the wireless industry, focused on connecting people to the ones that matter most to them. And then I had a good friend that worked for Amarok, and I had seen just what an amazing culture the company had, the awesome, products and solutions they were providing, and what a great impact it had on his career. So when the opportunity came for an account executive role in the Pacific Northwest, I jumped on the opportunity. So coming into the security industry, I think I was a little naive to the security challenges that these businesses were experiencing, and I instantly became aware of the challenges. I came on at the beginning of COVID, when things were really starting to escalate, I think, and a lot of businesses were looking to take security measures into their own hands to really protect the assets and be able to operate business as usual. So I've been with Amarok for about 5 years now. Love the customers that we work with, and it is great to be with a company that provides solutions that truly are effective in deterring crime.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly need that. Yes. I think, speaking on behalf of our rental members, both from the equipment and the event side, I think so much of what you're doing is providing a service of perimeter security, and we can talk a little bit more about that and and what that all entails.
Yes.
I think you provided a little shock and awe, no pun intended, today with the electric fence.
Good dad joke, Dad.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's wide awake today.
That won't happen again. With the electric fence,
yes,
demonstration that you did today, but perimeter security. We just launched in April as ARA the store preparation and security training course. What does perimeter security mean to you, and why is that so important to preventing theft?
Yeah, I think that really goes to Amarok's security philosophy, and that is about deterring crime before it ever occurs. And when it comes to perimeter security, that is where we're going to start, protecting the properties at the perimeter of the property. Unlike some security solutions that may be more reactive, they may be notifying you once intruders are already on your property. We're trying to take that proactive approach, deter them, and hopefully these intruders are just moving to the next easiest property.
Definitely.
That's right.
Definitely. So, a big part of that is having the right fencing, right?
Correct.
And so, why is an electric fence more effective than a regular fence?
Yeah. Well, I will say the majority of the locations that I have worked with, especially in equipment rental, these intruders are accessing the property by cutting through the chain link fence, climbing the chain link fence, cutting the lock to the gate.
Yeah.
I've heard the saying that chain link fence is to keep the honest people out, and electric fencing is for all others. And these intruders, yeah. So the electric fence is so effective in deterring crime. These intruders will see that electric fence, and as I mentioned, they're moving on to the next easiest target. The signage that warns of the 7,000 volts, the appearance of the cables, it's very intimidating for intruders. And that really is our goal, is that they see that and they don't even attempt to get on the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually remember we had one, we had a day we were out and we were driving the yard, big yard.
Yes.
Get all the way to the back. And we looked and somebody kind of did one of these, and behind some of the boom lifts that were parked out there, which creates a very visual wall of actually seeing the fence. And somebody went out and we walked behind, and the fence had been split, somebody clipped it all the way down, and somebody was like, when did this happen?
Yes.
And then we sat there and we started looking around, and we realized we were thinking somebody was going to steal something big. They stole extension cords that never got reported, but at a massive level. They stole all the bits, they stole buckets, they stole all this stuff. They had an access every night to just steal us $100, $200, $300 at a time, but we don't know how long. And it was one of these things. We didn't have the cameras, we didn't have an electric fence by any means.
Yeah.
And everybody sat there and there was that eye-opening moment of, oh snap, like this has been open, and you know what our fix was? Tell us what our fix was. We go out and we get a little bit of baling wire and we fix it.
Yeah.
You're like, you realize that what they did the first time, they're just going to repeat all over again.
Yeah. These properties.
Fixed, duct tape.
Exactly. Well, and it's usually pretty costly to have a chain link fence company come out and do those repairs. So I can see why you're doing the quick fix. And these properties are large, so you're spot on. These cuts are obstructed by equipment, and you're not walking your full fence line every night to inspect for this. Some of these fences, though, that I've worked with started to look like Swiss cheese, just like hole, and patch. But those are exactly the things that we're solving for.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other one that I saw is I get the honor of working with a lot of different rental companies, and it was one of the ones where I kind of had that oh crud moment. Is they parked their forklifts in front of the gate so that nobody was going to go through the gate. They locked their gate. Somebody jumped over the fence. It was just a normal chain link fence. Jumped over it. They went and they got an excavator, fired the excavator up, pulled up the fence and moved it, drove out into the neighbors, and they took it where they needed to go once it was off camera. And then they walked back in, got a skid steer, and then they walked back in, and you realize they were like, oh my gosh. And it was as simple as there was nothing that stopped them from climbing the fence in the first place, and they used the equipment as part of their tools to get out of the yard.
Wow.
And that's what I said. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So, when you were talking about the fence and seeing it, I sat there and I was like, that's the solution, is you keep them from ever getting into your yard in the first place, so that they can't use the equipment to break out.
Well, and I think that's a shocking thing that I've heard from some customers that have had cameras in the past and then went back and reviewed that camera footage, and they said, this guy was on our yard for 3 hours.
Just working away.
But if you didn't have any analytic monitoring to alert you, they kind of have a free fall. And that's really what we're seeing, is the majority of these intrusions are happening at night, after hours. These are industrial areas where people are gone, at home. Over weekends or long holidays especially are times when we're seeing these businesses hit the hardest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest one is the reason why they hit them on those off hours, on the weekends and stuff, is for the simple fact they realize that if no one's going to be back till Tuesday after a Memorial Day weekend, then they get 48 hours to get that equipment as far away as possible.
Yeah.
And if it has GPS or it has anything else on it, it gives them a chance to dig through the machine, pull off any tracking stuff, and then they're long gone with no GPS, and they win.
Exactly.
Yep.
And the other thing is, talking with a lot of the branch managers, they are coming in that Tuesday morning. They're so busy that the last thing they want to be doing is checking the yard and doing a full inventory check to make sure they've got everything to just start the day business as usual.
That's right.
That is.
Yeah, it usually doesn't come up until the customer comes in to pick something up, and then you realize, oh, pieces are missing, or the whole piece of equipment is missing,
So you made the comment, and I got to wonder, I had the honor of working on a lot of farms, and we had a wire fence to keep the cattle in. It would give them a little zap. But I heard you mention that your fences have 7,000 volts of electricity.
Yes.
So I'm thinking that if I go over and I touch that, like it's just instantly killed, or is this one of the things where you're holding on to it and we see the cat who's first standing up and they just stand there in shock? How much is 7,000 volts?
Well, I think he can speak to it because he tested it out. No,
Did you put your tongue on it?
And I'm here. I'm not dead, but
yeah.
But you got a different look to you.
I put my hand on it, and it. I felt it.
Energized.
Let's just put it that way. Yes.
He's glowing, his hair standing on it. No, I think all of us have trauma of our childhood touching the electric fence at our, grandparents' farm or something. But this is very different. It is completely safe, harmless, extensively medically tested. However, we like to say that it is safe yet memorable. And
Safe and memorable.
These intruders may touch it one time, and they won't touch it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually a pulsed electric shock that is traveling around the fence every 1.3 seconds. So it's a very short exposure to the 7,000 volts. It almost bounces your hand off of it, but you'll feel the current from your head to your toes. There's times that it'll put somebody back, especially if they're not expecting it.
That's perfect. What do you wish in all the stories you've heard, people you've interacted with, what do you wish everyone that had a yard that they were trying to keep safe, what do you wish they knew?
I think the best approach to security is really a layered approach, and you guys have a lot of partners and vendors that you provide training and information. I think when it comes to the products and solutions that we provide, that really is what differentiates us, is that we are preventing these intruders from gaining access to your property to begin with. We also offer, we're a full perimeter security provider, so we offer integrated monitored camera solutions, access control, building intrusion, all of which are part of that complete security solution. However, we find that just cameras really don't prevent crime. They're great for operational efficiencies and a lot of the other, security needs that these locations will have. But when it comes to break-ins and theft, there is nothing that will protect like an electric fence.
There you go. So let me ask you this, is obviously coming up later this week is the Hurricane Conference down in Florida.
Yes.
And anytime there's a big event like that, and a lot of people leave, kind of like you were just alluding to a minute ago when you talked about long weekends and things.
Yeah.
What happens when the power grid goes down to your electric fence? Obviously it goes down as well.
Yeah, I know that's a great question. Actually, our system is completely independent from any electricity. So we are completely solar powered, cell communicated. So even in a power outage, your yard and property will continue to be secured. I will say too, we do include all ongoing maintenance and repairs. So if in the scenario of natural disaster impacts, physical impact, sometimes you have these guys drive equipment into the fence.
What? No, equipment guys getting a little loose?
Never.
Never.
The fences, the cables are spring loaded, so it's very resilient to a lot of that, but our standard response time for repairs is under just 3 business days, in most areas 1.5 business days for repairs, and that is all included in your monthly subscription. So we know at Amarok that fence, your cameras, your security solution has to be up and operating in order to protect your assets. Right. So that is our top priority as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Kristen, I have one more for you before we wrap up. So you're here today, as part of Equipment Theft Awareness Month. Amarok is sponsoring Equipment Rental Guard. Why, and you talk to a lot of rental businesses.
Yes.
You have a lot of customers that are rental businesses. Why is a program like Equipment Rental Guard so important to the rental industry, and why is it so important for you and Amarok to be involved in what we're doing with Equipment Rental Guard?
Yeah, at Amarok, we are passionate about protecting our partners and customers. So we love what you guys are doing and the services that you guys are providing to really proactively mitigate the risk. With the solutions that you guys are providing and the information in the network that you guys are providing to support that. So, being an ARA member, they can gain access to valuable resources, information, training, the database that they can, gain access to tracking these type of incidents, and so that we can all help in the bigger picture of deterring these type of incidents and eliminating the opportunity for these for these intruders to steal equipment and to impact these businesses.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for your support and involvement with Equipment Rental Guard. $100 million plus a year problem, that we're facing as an industry, and like you said, I think it takes all of us to attack it, and your passion for it is evident, and really appreciate you sharing that with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Pleasure talking with both of you.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.